What is up, everybody? Welcome into the RPG podcast. Here again for another running back dynasty breakdown for the 2025 season. We're going to be talking about Rhamondre Stevenson today. I know it's a stinky name. It's a name that, frankly, has just gone to dust ever since the Travion Henderson pick. But we still got to talk about him. Still a potential dynasty player for us. Will likely be on your dynasty rosters. All right, so we get started as we usually do over here, going to Dynasty Data Lab and looking at where he is currently going in ADP. We're going to see pretty quickly here that he is going RB 40 off the board. You look at his offseason so far and what his ADP history has looked like. It's been pretty consistent, sticking right around that mid 13th round, maybe creeping up a little bit to the early 13th round. So something to keep an eye on. But what running backs are going around him? You got Tajay Spears, Jalen Warren. Behind him, you have Javonte Williams. A little bit further ahead of him, you have Najee Harris. So, these are all guys that hopefully you're not expecting to have to start week in and week out on your dynasty team. If you are, then good luck to you. That's a strategy. But these are guys that most likely should be filling the back end flex slot or that bench running back role on most startup teams. So you're looking at him going in the 13th round. Most leagues are somewhere around that 10 starter range. So that tracks pretty closely here. Saying that it's going to be a couple picks, couple rounds after you probably got your starters. So we'll look at what he did last season and what he did, or what might his outlook be for this coming season. What might change exactly? So we go over to Fantasy Pros here, and we are going to scroll until we find Rhamondre Stevenson. We got RB 28 from last season, 11.7 points per game. You look at that receiving workload, that 33 and 41. And that is a tough thing to imagine happening again with Travion Henderson there, who is very clearly a better pass catching back, also a better pass blocker in the backfield, being able to pick up guys that are coming at Drake May. So, yeah, they found Drake May. Yeah, he's probably the quarterback of the franchise moving forward. So hopefully he's able to take some pressure off this running game. But what helps a young quarterback better than these little dump offs, better than having competent pass protection out of the running back? So I fully expect this number to go down. It would not shock me if Rhamondre ends up with somewhere in that 20 to 25 target range for maybe 16 to 18 receptions. Look, if that's the case, his receiving workload is basically nullified. It's basically zero. Maybe he gets a receiving touchdown, maybe he doesn't. And then you look at that 207 attempts. With Vrabel there now, you're probably going to see a split between Henderson and between Stevenson. Think about what Henderson was able to do with Judkins still there last year at Ohio State. So is that a realistic thing where maybe you're having Henderson be the efficiency back, be able to be the explosive playback, and then you're having Stevenson try and be the between the tackles grinder, just trying to utilize his contract, utilize him on the team, which his contract's a really important thing to be able to remember because he's essentially locked in for this season. But you get to next season, his cap hit is incredibly small. You get to the 2027 season, and going into that season, his cap hit should be zero. So super easy for the Patriots to move on from him after the 2026 season. Still very easy for them to move on after this 2025 season. So could they be getting Henderson's feet wet this coming season, and then Stevenson could be trying to find another home? Possibly. But Stevenson was a useful back when he was able to get the receiving workload. He's always had to rely on volume in the rushing game because he's never been a highly efficient back running the football. So if his carries were to drop somewhere in that 150 to 175 range at 4 yards a carry, I mean, we're talking somebody that's probably going to be down in this 36 range, somewhere averaging around 8.5, 9 points a game. That's a pretty hard pill to swallow. But I guess technically, if you're looking at the Dynasty Data Lab, that would be finishing right about or right above his current RB ADP. So some people may consider that a win. But when I'm looking for my running backs, I'm looking for guys in better offenses, especially my running back handicaps. Better offenses, better offensive lines, better systems. That if the starter or the split back, whoever's splitting carries with them, ends up going down or getting injured, there is a path to a larger workload very easily to be seen. All right. Now, what are we thinking about this Patriots offensive line, this Patriots team? So we're going to go over to PFF and show what we're dealing with here, what we're looking at. So keep this in mind when you're going to draft Henderson as well. But we're talking about Rhamondre Stevenson right now. So we got Bradbury, we got some guards around there. We got some tackles sitting around here. Oh, man, you can see why they spent some draft capital on Will Campbell to try and play tackle. I know some others on the pod don't really think that he's going to stick at tackle, but regardless, there are so many holes on this offensive line. They also took another top 100 flyer on the center from Georgia. So they're trying to add to this offensive line. They're trying to add to the playmakers. They added Kyle Williams to the receiving core. They added Travion Henderson. So they very clearly wanted to invest in this offense. They know that they have a franchise quarterback. So now they're trying to build around him, be able to give him weapons to, one, be able to stay upright, and two, to be able to actually win them some games by giving him the weapons that he needs to be able to operate the offense efficiently. All right, well, is tight end a big assistance in the run blocking game in this offense, you might ask? Hunter Henry, always been a better receiving threat than he has been blocker. So that is probably going to be a no. But Vrabel is going to try and run the football. He's going to try and establish the run. He's going to try and get usage out of his running back that he just took very early in the NFL draft. And hopefully the offensive linemen that they took start to pan out. You start to be able to see progress by the end of the season. But man, Rhamondre Stevenson is just not one of those guys that gets you excited, that you really want to draft in those later rounds, especially in the 13th round. And if I'm taking somebody in the 13th round, I'm looking for somebody that maybe is a Jordan Mason type, a Jalen Warren type. If Caleb Johnson ends up going down, they got guys that have specific roles, specific upside. Maybe somebody that you know has a efficient play caller, efficient offensive line. But Rhamondre is not that guy. If you have him, what would I be okay getting off of him for? I think I would personally be fine getting off of him for a third and a fourth. Can you get a third and a fourth for him? I would hope that you can still get a third and a fourth from somebody in your league. I view thirds as those trade fodder pieces to be able to go get somebody when a starter gets injured and you're not able to get to the waiver wire fast enough, or they already have them rostered. So that is that piece. That is that little piece of candy to be able to say, here you go. Appreciate what you're doing for me, helping me win now. But with that being said, hopefully this has been actionable. Hopefully this has been helpful. We really appreciate you guys tapping in to the RPG podcast here on YouTube. If you have a moment, you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We're working our way to 1,000 subscribers so that we can help get monetized here. And that is one of our big goals for this season. But with that being said, have a good night, y'all.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out written content, head over to lastwordonsports.com.
Don't let the goblins get you.